Welcome back to Bear Mountain Builds, and today I'm going to show you how to build a giant 6-foot light-up Christmas ball. It's Christmas magic. Hey, I'm Zach and welcome back to Bear Mountain Builds. Now today I'm going to be showing you how to build a giant 6-foot light-up Christmas ball. Now this design is based off this smaller 2-foot version I built, and I've seen videos that only use chicken wire for structure of their ball, but that won't work as well on a larger scale because your ball will end up like a lumpy tater tot. Now to prevent this, I have an internal wire structure to reinforce the spherical shape. Now, what you're going to need for the job is 9-gauge wire for that structure, electrical fence wire, chicken wire, a lot of wire, LED lights, wire cutters, and then some method to cut your 9-gauge wire. I use bolt cutters, but you can get some heavy-duty wire cutters too. And finally, I cannot stress this enough, you're going to want some nitrile gloves. That way you're not stabbing your hands during the entire project. Now let's get started. So I have an incredibly complex fixture for making my exact length of wire. It consists of 3 pieces of tape, all on my concrete floor. One for the starting point, one for how long it needs to be a 6-foot circle, and one for where I need to cut it so I have this much overlap. Let's get going. Before I cut it, I put a piece of tape to mark the length for a 6-foot ring. Now before you make the cut, you'll want some safety glasses and a vice grip attached to the end of the wire because it's going to want to spring back quickly. This project only took about 4 hours from start to finish. So we finished making all of our big circles, so now it's time to make some smaller ones that will add structure. This will make more sense once it gets all put together, but I've modified my extremely complex wire cutting fixture by adding 4 more pieces of tape. Let's get going. So my wire can get a little unwieldy while I'm trying to connect the ends for my circle. So I set up this fixture using a 2x4 placed across my table with 4 screws, each 6 feet apart from each other. That way I can run my wire all the way around and it will hold it in place while I connect the ends. You don't really need 2 people for making the rings, but it does make the process easier and faster. And company's always nice. You'll want to wrap the electric fence wire around about 3 to 4 times as tightly as you can and then twist the ends together. Now in order to really crank these down, you could attach vice grips to the end and twist, but I found that putting the wire ends into the chuck of my drill was a lot faster and easier. We made a total of 8 6-foot rings. 7 of these are the vertical rings and the last will go around the equator. Now along with these we made 2 sets of smaller rings that will go above and below the equator for additional reinforcement. Okay, so I have all the rings done now, and since this is a 3-dimensional object that we're putting together, I've made this stand so that way I can hang all my rings off it while I tie them together, so that way they're not folding on top of each other on the table. Let's get going. Well, this isn't working. So the first stand had a few shortcomings resulting in failure and chaos. So what we've done is we've added these pieces of wood on here, and then I'm going to mount the latitude rings around it here, here, and here, and then we'll put the longitude rings over it and we can mount it all the way around like that. This should make it a little bit easier and so we're not getting so much twist. Alright, so really quick I want to show you guys how I'm mounting my rings onto my frame. I'm using these little plastic cable staples. I have them mounted on each part here. Wait. There we go. I have them mounted 4 times on each ring. You really don't need to focus on that. On each ring. Makes it really easy to adjust these if I want to. They're really great. I used the same twisting process for binding the vertical and horizontal rings as I did for making the rings. I brought in an extra pair of hands to help move stuff along. Alright, so we've got our entire structure done now. It's not exactly spherical, but it's close enough that once we add our chicken wire and our lights, it's going to look really good. So our next step is going to be adding our chicken wire, and we're just going to wrap this entire thing once around the horizontal and once vertically, and then we're just going to fill in the gaps from there. Let's get going. Now I've always referred to it as chicken wire, but apparently the politically correct term is poultry netting. Unlike me, you should remember that chicken wire is spring-loaded and should be held down while cutting. We hung the frame from the ceiling, making it easier to attach the chicken wire, but you can just as easily roll it around on the floor. We clipped the edges of the chicken wire so we could wrap the loose ends around the frame. Alright, so I've got the chicken wire on the ball. The ball's all set to go to have lights put on it. Now usually you use string lights and wrap it around, but since it's a 6-foot ball, I don't really feel like having to wrap it around that much. That's why I got this. These are LED net lights, so that way you can just spread them out and you can just drape it over the ball instead of having to wrap it. It'll go a lot faster and I think it'll look really cool. Let's get going. You'll want to make sure to keep all your plugs attached in the same spot because it'll be easier to plug it in later. After I got the netting in place, I tied it to the chicken wire using more fence wire. Now my original plan was to use 3 light nets, but I decided to add 1 more because it's America. Alright, so we got all the lights on. It looks really good, but now we're going to switch it over to flicker mode and I'm going to turn off the garage lights. Let's see what it looks like. Hit it, Casey. I hope you guys liked our giant 6-foot light up Christmas ball. Now this is a fun project to do with a friend and will really spice up your Christmas decoration game. Now as usual, I'll link all the materials we used in the description, and if you found this video entertaining, hit the like button. Also leave a comment and let me know what size ball you would really want to make. Finally, remember to subscribe because I've got a lot more projects coming. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.